All right, so let's try this again. So is it a rotation? Here are two triangles, and your job is to tell me, is it a rotation or not? So is triangle B a rotation of triangle A? Well, if you take triangle A, okay, and you turned it, would you get triangle B? And the answer is no, you would not. Okay, and that's because this is a reflection across the line L. Okay. All right, so looking at the work for today, you should, on this little screen, you should write down the rules that you learned from Friday's lesson about rotation. Now, if you didn't watch that video, then I would go back and watch that video because you're gonna need it for exploring rotations. Okay, so if you open up this page, okay, I'm gonna show you what the rules are for 90 degrees, 180, 270, etc. Okay, so if we rotate 90 degrees, what's gonna happen is, let's say that we pick a point. So I'm gonna pick a point, we're gonna pick C, okay? And this is -1, 2, okay? So from -1, 2 to -2, -1, what happened? Well, this is rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise, okay? And we're going from XY to switching the X and the Y, because from here to here, we switch the X and Y in their places. And then we're going to change the sign of the Y. Okay, so that's the rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, if we moved it to 180, it would look like this. And again, we're taking the same point, -1, 2. Okay, and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. And that's going to give us this point right here, which is -1, -2. Okay, I'm sorry, 1, -2. Doing great. 1, -2. Okay, so what that is for 180 degrees counterclockwise is we're going to take XY and we're going to change the sign of both X and Y. We're going to make them both the opposite signs. Okay, now if we did 270 degrees, okay, it would be 2, 1. So this would be 2, 1. Okay, so what that means, 270 degrees counterclockwise, we would go from XY to switching the Y and the X, and then changing the sign of our X. Okay. All right, so again, these are the rules. Now, one thing to remember is that this is moving counterclockwise. If we wanted to go clockwise, this would be 270 degrees clockwise. This would still be 180 clockwise. It would be the same rule. This would be 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so something to keep in mind is depending on the direction that you go in. So for instance, if you don't know what I mean by clockwise or counterclockwise, going this way on a clock is clockwise. Going this way on a clock is counterclockwise. Okay. Best way to memorize that is which one looks like a C. Well, this is a C and that's counterclockwise. Okay, that's the direction. All right, so looking back at our next slide. Okay, let's practice. Okay, so you can use a whiteboard on this. You don't have to. But what you're going to do is on like a piece of graph paper, you're going to draw a line segment. It doesn't matter where the line segment is, but you're going to draw a line segment AB. And you're going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So you're going to use those rules. So for instance, we've got figure A, which is going to be, let's say, 1, let's make it -2. Okay. 1, -2. And it on our rules for clockwise 90 degrees, we learned, let me go back to that. 90 degrees clockwise is going to be switching your X and Y and then changing the sign of that. Okay, so again, we're going to switch our X and Y, and then change the sign of the second one. Okay, and that would be our new point. Okay, now you connect A to A prime, so you'll plot both of these and then shade the resulting triangle that is created. What kind of triangle did you draw? Hopefully you drew a right triangle. Okay, what other properties do you notice in the figure? Okay, so you can do it for also B, and you're going to notice something very similar as well. Okay, now this next one, 30 degrees counterclockwise, what I would do is I would draw this out on my paper, whatever the line segment is. Okay, and then I would take another piece of paper and trace over it and then rotate it the 30 degrees. Now, if you don't know what 30 degrees looks like, I would use a protractor in order to make sure that you get that. Okay, and we can talk more about this a little bit later. We're not going to focus on that right now. Okay, on the next one, Andre tried rotating the triangle ABC, 45-degree angle, counterclockwise. He knows something went wrong because the image doesn't seem to be congruent in the original figure. So what's one idea that Andre probably understands about rotation? Well, he understands that from this point to the middle of this circle, it should be the same when he rotates it. Okay, so from here and here, it should be the same distance, right? As well as from the circle, this is your degrees. Okay, so equidistant from center okay. Another thing that he doesn't understand about rotations is that it's got to be a congruent figure. So from this step to this step, we see that the shape changed size and shape because it went from being a regular triangle to now like a right triangle that's bigger. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rotate it 45 degrees counterclockwise. So again, I would trace over this picture and then rotate it 45 degrees. So it's going to be something like, I go from here to here. Oop, can't draw. And from here to here. It's going to look like that roughly. Okay, pretty close. Okay. A couple of things that you need to make sure that you take care of is the Khan Academy from Friday. I know a lot of y'all were having issues with signing in on that. If you had some issues signing in, one thing that you need to make sure that you do is you click the link from Friday, you go to assignments, and you're going to be listed as active. Go to past because they were due Friday. Okay, and then go ahead and complete those. Okay, once you get that done, go ahead and go to your Desmos activity. So sorry, people. Okay, if you don't have the Desmos code, go ahead and take a moment and pause this video and connect to the one that is your Desmos code. Okay, whatever class period you're in, whatever classroom you're in, make sure that you click on that. Okay, let's see. What was the other thing I needed you to do? I also have a lot of people who are missing from Friday. This document, this overview, reflections, and translations, you're supposed to go back on here and then like fill it out. Okay, so make sure that you do that. If you ever can't find the YouTube videos for some reason, or the YouTube videos don't work, they're all posted in here, and I'll be updating that as we go throughout the semester. And again, here are your join Desmos links for that. So as long as you join the class code and then you sign into student.desmos.com, you should be good. Okay, hopefully the mic works on this video. So I will see y'all tomorrow.